What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast. It's Lynn and Drew Manning here, your hosts of the show, broadcasting from Kona, Hawaii, the Big Island. We're so grateful that you're part of the show. Today, we have a great guest, the one and only Bruce Pitcher from Season 3 of Extreme Weight Loss. If you guys don't know his story, it will blow your mind. It's probably one of the most remarkable episodes on the history of the TV show, in my opinion. Bruce is an amazing guy. For those of you who don't know who he is, so he was on Season 3 of Extreme Weight Loss, has a remarkable story. He currently works with Destination Bootcamp, which is related to the show, and actually flies out to Colorado at the Anschutz Health and Wellness Center. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. It's a German name. But anyways, it's where people from all over the world can come and be a part of the same training that the clients on the show go through. And so he's a part of that. He's one of the speakers because he's lost over 200 pounds, kept it off since Season 3 of the show, so for 2 years now. And so he's a great example of not just weight loss or transformation in general, but maintaining that kind of weight loss as well.
Yeah, and you guys, in the show, it goes through so many amazing, inspiring key components to not only changing your health and wellness, but also changing your life. You know, we talk about his attempted suicide. We talk about sexual abuse that he endured and some other hardships that he had, and turning his life around, overcoming this adversity. Really, really inspiring stuff. You guys will not want to miss this episode.
Yeah, and we also dive into the specifics of what he did during the show to lose the weight, and the specifics of the things he does now to maintain that weight loss. And we even talk about his naked squat routine, which is very interesting. You have to stay tuned for that. And his best impersonation of Chris Powell is hilarious. It's so funny. So make sure and listen to that at the end of the episode. But first, today's episode is brought to you guys by Quest Nutrition. Now, for those of you who have been listening, you know that we have a long history with Quest Nutrition. We're big fans of their protein bars and their protein chips, and they have protein powder now. They have so many great products. And the thing that we love about Quest is that they make healthy taste good. Like, all of their protein bars are delicious, in my opinion, even though Lynn doesn't really like the lemon.
I'm picky. Everybody knows I have the best taste buds in the industry because I actually like food. No, I'm just kidding. But I really do like desserts. Everyone knows I have a sweet tooth. Most of the flavors I do love, but I do have my favorites like chocolate chip cookie dough, white chocolate raspberry, double chocolate chunk. Oh man, pumpkin pie. That's a really good one.
Yeah, now that it's fall, pumpkin pie is
so good.
Pumpkin pie everything, so good. Right? Yoga pants, pumpkin spice, pie spice latte.
We'll stop making everybody hungry, but high in protein, low in net carbs. They're amazing. You can keep one in your purse or at the office, in the car, just so that if you need it when you're on the go, you avoid that fast food trap. So check them out, questnutrition.com. We actually have a direct link in our show notes, so you can check that out. And then this episode is also brought to you by dollarworkoutclub.com. You can check that out in the show notes as well. 5 at-home workouts that could be done at any fitness level, 5 healthy recipe videos, and 5 motivation/fitness tip videos, all for just $1 a week. No contracts, no hidden fees. It's awesome. So check it out.
Yep, it's basically Dollar Shave Club, but for the workout industry. High quality product for low cost. Just $1 a week, you guys. On fleek for $1 a week. That's what we say, Dollar Workout Club.
All right, so let's head over and chat with Bruce.
Bruce, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Fit to Fat to Fit podcast. It's an honor, honestly, to have you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on it.
Yeah, dude. So for those of you who don't know, Bruce and I have a little bit of history. We know each other from the TV show Extreme Weight Loss, and I'm just gonna, give people a little bit of behind the scenes of how we met each other, Bruce, and you can kind of chime in. But basically, so I was on an episode of Season 3 Extreme Weight Loss, and then Bruce was on Season 4, and Bruce is from Utah, and his episode was mind-blowing. First of all, like one of the most inspiring episodes in the history of the show. And I had the opportunity to meet Bruce at his 90-day weigh-in, and it was at Orem High School out in Utah. And Matt Osmus, who was on the show a couple episodes back, had me meet Bruce, and I got to be there with Chris and Heidi and see Bruce's 90-day transformation. But it was really cool to meet you in person at that time because you had already lost, like 120 pounds at that point?
Yeah, 121. to be exact.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is amazing, dude. And then we started working with each other in the morning. And I remember Heidi was checking in with me, like texting me every day, like, how's Bruce doing? But the problem was that you had a concussion from playing football, which got you in trouble a little bit, right?
Yep. That's what got me in trouble.
And so, so Heidi was like, Bruce has been dizzy a little bit, this and that. So like, maybe you should stop working with him. And so I kind of just, listened to Heidi, of course, because she's obviously in control and I don't want to even try to debate with her. And so, that's how I met Bruce, and we kind of kept in touch since then. And honestly, Bruce, like, I still use part of your story when I do speaking engagements because it really is inspiring and remarkable to share. So, with that being said, I would actually love for you to share your story with my following, because I'm sure some of the people out there have heard of your story, but for those who don't, it's well worth hearing again, and it's well worth hearing for the first time. So give us a little bit of your background and a little bit of your story, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. My story, of course, it starts with me and my dad, and he was a football coach, and I thought he was the best dad in the world. I thought I had the best dad in the world, and of course you always do as a kid, and I thought I could. And all the football, he coached football, and all the kids used to tell me how awesome he was as a coach and as just a person to them, was always nice to them. And he handwritten Christmas cards to every single player on our team. And for their birthdays, he would always go the extra mile for their birthday. They would have sleepovers and everything out at our house. And he'd make a specialty dessert, like this milkshake that people just loved. And the parents would always be like, you know what? Oh, he's the best. And da-da-da-da-da. And it got so big that they actually nominated him for Coach of the Year. And that nomination, you get to go to the Super Bowl if you win. And he was so close to winning that. And I just remember that I thought I had the greatest dad in the world. And I just remember one day it all changed when I got called down to the office my sophomore year in high school. And I remember walking down to the office, and I'm wondering why I'm going down there. And standing there was a police officer. And he asked me to take a ride with him. So I got in the car, we drove off, and we came up to this house down in South Provo here in Utah. It looks just like a normal house. It looked like a normal house in the neighborhood. It was because the other houses were just normal around it. The only difference was there was just kind of a bigger parking lot in it. And I'll never forget the green door that was on it. And I remember walking in there, and he walked me into a room. I remember there was a white table in the middle, and then there was a green couch, and then teddy bears in the corner. And I was like, what is going on here? And I remember him reaching into his pocket and pulling out a tape recorder and hitting play. And I just will never forget the question that he asked me when he asked, has your dad ever touched you inappropriately? And I just remember I've never been so like wide-eyed ever in my life. And I was just sat there, and I just looked at him, and I just remember thinking, I have the greatest dad in the world, and I don't know why, but I held in a secret that day, and I lied to the police officer that day, and I said no. And he continued to ask me questions that went along, and then I just kept saying no, I don't know anything about anything. And he said thank you, and took me back to school. And I went to school, and I called home, and I told my mom what had just happened. And what she replied to me back is your dad just got taken off to jail. And it was just like an unbelievable experience. And I remember the moment I got home, there was trucks of every media outlet that there was over there. The newspapers were all at our house filming across the street, interviewing people because there was an elementary school across that were just like talking to people. And then the next day I went back to school, and I remember kids brought the newspaper article to school. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And it was, they were passing it around, and then somebody actually defecated in my backpack, and I was just like, what the heck?
Whoa.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was an unbelievable experience. And then I just remember it was the football team, because of football, and this is why I love football so much, is it basically saved my life, is the football team and the football coaches stepped in. And they were the ones that said, all right, enough of this is enough. And I remember the players all gathered around, and we're like, this is done. Nobody's going to be bringing it up. We're going to support Bruce, da-da-da-da. And it was great. I can never thank those guys enough or ever show them a much appreciation for everything they did for me and how important football was to me in my life. And I made it through the rest of my high school years. And it was an emotional roller coaster, but I had still never come out with my dad's stuff. And I was supposed to go on an LDS mission. And people that know about missions is you got to go with a clear mind when you're going on mission, because you're already going to be under a lot of like pressure and adversity as it is when you're out there. And I couldn't make it. So I came home early. Nobody knew why I came home early. And I got scrutinized for that. And I just remember I was so lost, I didn't know where to go, and I went up and visited my dad in prison. And I remember, and the prison just sucks to go to because the doors, the way they slam in, the barbed wire fence, the guards look down on you like, why the heck would you even be here visiting this person? And he comes out and he's in his white jumpsuit and he sits down and I tell him like, Dad, I don't know what to do, da 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 da. And he just replies back with, well, now the family's not going to receive the blessings that we need, and I'm not going to get out of here, and it's your fault I'm in here. And
Whoa.
and I was just like, oh, man. So I came home that day and found the biggest bottle of booze that I could find, drank it as fast as I could, and I tried to kill myself that day. And lucky enough, the belt broke, and I came back to the earth, and I went to the hospital, and then I started meeting with a therapist. And that's when I came out with all my dad's stuff and everything about it. And I'll never forget what on the last therapy session, what he told me is he said, Bruce, you can go home and you can play the poor me card and nobody's going to fault you for that or anything like that. Or you can go home and not do that and not be the victim and just battle through adversity and not let your dad have anything on you anymore. And that's exactly what I did. I took that and I was like, you know what? He's right. There's somebody out there that has it worse than this. There's somebody out there that's been through just what I've been through or 10 times worse. So like you can either live life to the fullest or you can play the victim card, the poor me card. And I'll never forget that. And then that's, of course, as time went on, obviously I still had a lot of things going on and put on a lot of weight, had never confronted him, didn't get over all that stuff. And of course, that's when extreme weight loss came into play. And Chris taught me about integrity, Chris and Heidi, and keeping my promises. And I think that's what really, really finally pulled it all together, all my steps of my attitude and being a tough person in life. And then the one ingredient I was missing, of course, was integrity and keeping my promises. And I think that's now what I do more than ever now. So,
how were you overweight before all this went down in high school?
I gradually started to put it on. I think the only reason that I was just talking to my friend the other day before it all went down, I got up as soon as I graduated, I got all the way to 295 before I was even on getting ready to go on my mission. So it just started piling on quickly before all that went down. Yeah.
And what did you get up to at your heaviest?
My heaviest was 410 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to have our show focus too much on this. I want to get into some of obviously, the amazing, transformation in your life that happened. And the part of why your show has to date been my most favorite on extreme weight loss is because of your amazing energy, your charisma, your positive attitude. I love what you said about, you left that therapy session and they said, yeah, you've had a hard life. You could easily be down and depressed about it, or you can choose to change. But that is something that's hard. And, so many people in America suffer from depression and anxiety and, get to that same point that you were at where, attempted suicide or suicide, food addiction. And a lot of that actually is from exact experiences like you had with sexual abuse. In fact, studies show that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 7 men have reported, and this is only, how many people maybe don't report it, go through some form of sexual abuse in their lifetime. For somebody listening to the episode, since that's obviously a large audience of who's listening probably has been through that, what are some of the key factors that you really feel helped you to overcome that situation and change your life?
I think because of course I confronted my dad on the episode, which is amazing that how that all happened. I mean, there was a higher being that had an influence on that, because I had tried out for extreme weight loss 3 other times in Biggest Loser 7, and I happened to get selected the year of my dad's parole hearing. So that's just unbelievable.
Wow.
But I think it was just getting the confidence in myself and believing in myself that I didn't need to I didn't need to be anybody but myself. I didn't need to please my dad anymore. And I think that's finally what got me over that hump, because I remember when they first asked me to confront him, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Are we really going to go there? And I was just like, and I remember I went to my therapist, and my therapist actually behind the scenes called them and said, you will never bring this up ever again. And so it was just like, and if you do, you're going to be at this and this and this. So Matt had to actually back off and everything. And it just kind of slowly, gradually over time, though, as I was losing the weight, found out about integrity, keeping my promises, and really feeling the love from so many people from that I met from the show, and everything all around of behind the scenes stuff that really got me to that point of like, you know what, this is a bigger purpose than just me confronting my dad. I have an opportunity to confront him, and I think that's what, gave me the confidence and everything to do it. And I always say, people that have been abused and stuff, there's nothing you can really say to them. All they want is a big old hug. Like every motivational speech that I usually give, there's at least 2 or 3 people that will come up to me and have had similar experience. And I don't say like, you know what, this is what you should. I just give them a big old hug, because there's nothing there's nothing really to be talked about except that, you know what, I love you right now, and I know what you went through, and there's so many people that do, and that's really the biggest thing that they need, is just a big old hug to let somebody know they love them, and that's the biggest thing.
Thanks for sharing.
Oh man, that's so powerful. Really, really is, man. It's remarkable to me, and a great example. Whether you've been sexually abused or just had some kind of crazy, immense trial in your life that you feel like this is too much to overcome, to see your story and how far you've come from that is inspiring, no matter who you are. Like, anybody can listen to this episode and be taken away and say, you know what, I could play the victim card the rest of my life, or, and no one's going to fault you for that. People will be like, you know what, I totally understand. Or, you can make the most out of your life. And I love that message. It's not for us to judge someone if they are playing the victim card, in my opinion, or like, hey, that person's making the most of their life. But to know that someone can choose, a positive outlook on their life, no matter what their past is awesome. And I love hearing that, Bruce. So thank you so much. So I kind of want to transition over to talking about extreme weight loss. Tell us about your experience of what Chris said to you on that first day and how that changed your perspective once you were on the show with him.
I just remember the first talk of integrity talk when there was no cameras rolling. And because he basically said, you know what, you're going to have no problem working out the meal prepping and stuff. But he said, I remember when he told me, he's like, you have no integrity. And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I have tons of integrity. I bust my butt for the football team. I do this. And he said, bingo, you have no integrity to yourself, and you don't keep your promises to yourself at all. And when you sit back and you think about it, you're like, oh my gosh, he's exactly right.
Yeah.
Like, always I was like, yeah, 2012 is going to be my year, all this stuff. And heck, it always went by and still wasn't my year, except for the only thing that was my year is I got bigger on the scale, it just kept going up. So, or I won a couple eating contests, that was about it. So, but yeah, that was the biggest thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's a huge thing that everyone needs to hear when they start their own health journey. I don't want to say weight loss, because it's not always about weight loss for people. It's really just about your health. But I think the biggest thing is we put everyone else first. We put, like you said, you put your football team first. You probably put your family first. I know almost all the women I work with, they put their family and their kids and their career and their friends and everyone first. And the biggest thing that I always say to clients is very similar to what Chris said, is I just say, would you treat your best friend the same way you're treating yourself?
Yes.
Would you say the things about yourself that you're saying right now about being fat or ugly or not good enough or you just can't do it? Would you say that to your best friend? And it just has them step back and think. And of course, it's like, no, I would never say that to my best friend. And it's like, exactly. And you are your best friend, and that's why integrity to yourself is one of, in my opinion, the most important key elements in overall success in reaching your goals.
No, that's so true. And I second that, what Lynn said, having integrity to yourself and keeping promises to yourself. And this goes for anything in life, not just weight loss, but transformation in general. It really does. Keeping promises to yourself, you'll be a lot happier person. Getting back to your episode a little bit, I'm not sure if most people know this, but obviously Chris Powell doesn't live with you the entire year and train you the entire year. Who was your trainer during the show, and can you talk about the things they did to help you on your journey to getting fit throughout the year?
Yeah, of course you were a little bit, Drew. I'll give you some credit there. We were getting on that spin bike and hitting it hard. So
in my basement, I remember that, dude. Yeah, we had a good little while doing that until Heidi gave me the axe. So
then they kind of axed and shipped me off to Arizona. And then the other guy that helped me big time was Tommy Hackerberg was my trainer at home. He was like, I mean, if anybody knows anything about CrossFit, he's a CrossFit legend. He's a freak. I mean, he they have God gift for like basketball and football and stuff, and he's a god. He's been gifted for CrossFit. There's no doubt about it. That guy can do amazing things. I mean, for as big as he is to do as well as he does in CrossFit, it's pretty amazing.
Yes. So he had you doing CrossFit throughout, or what kind of stuff did he have
we
you
did
do?
a lot of CrossFit stuff, and of course we didn't do as much Olympic lifting, but we did a lot of like rowing, assault bike stuff, like all that kind of stuff. But I did CrossFit 5 days a week, and we lifted, and people because it always is funny to me because people are like, especially on a show, are always like, I can't lift, I gotta lose weight. And I'm like, dude, you can lift the whole time. Like, even when we run into people at Destination Bootcamp that we do, they're always like, I can't lift, I gotta lose weight. And it's like, bro, you can lift and lose weight at the same time. It's very efficient, actually, because the muscles start eating the fat, you can get really in shape, and there's a big difference, I think, between because how many people are skinny fat out there where if they go get their obese checked, they're skinny, but they go get a jump in a bod pod, they're obese, and it's like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good advice. And a lot of people have that misconception, like, oh, I don't want to get too big or too bulky because muscle weighs more than fat. People say that all the time. It's like, look, it's all about your metabolism, right?
Yeah.
And the more muscle you have, the more fat you burn, right? The more calories that you burn throughout the day. And so that's great for people to learn from someone like you who's been on the show and has lost 200 plus pounds. You can lift weights and still lose weight. It's the most efficient way of doing it. It's not that you didn't do cardio. You still did that.
Yes.
But I think that's great advice for people.
It's important for people to realize, that's a great fitness tip to take from this podcast is everybody should be lifting weight. And I always tell women that too, especially women. Like you said, a lot of times a client will jump into a bod pod and she'll be what like anyone would consider thin, and she is thin, but based on her, composition of her lean mass versus her fat mass, she's showing as obese because she doesn't have muscle mass because she doesn't lift weights. And I always tell clients that I'm like, training your muscles and building muscle is the way for you to be, it's easier for you to maintain. A lot of people just do cardio when they're obese and they lose weight, and then what happens is their resting metabolic rate actually goes down because every pound of fat that you have burns about 6 calories for you a day. So if you lose, 60 to 100 pounds, your resting metabolic rate is actually lower. So in order to maintain or lose weight, you have to eat even less. But if instead you're also building muscle, 1 pound of muscle burns 10 times that, 60 calories for you on average for a pound of muscle. And so if you could replace all of that fat with even 5-10 pounds of muscle, your resting metabolic rate is going to be higher. It's going to be easier for you to maintain your weight or continue to see results. So that's important for people to know.
Yeah, man. So you were doing CrossFit 5 days a week. Was that just 1 watt a day, or what were you doing?
Yeah. So I would do like 1 watt a day. We'd get in there, we'd do some lifting thing, and then do like, and of course the wads were more of you weren't your 2-minute wads, they were more of a 15-minute AMRAP, as many, for people who don't know, that's as many rounds as possible of 3 different kinds of movements, and then those kinds of things, and so that was good, and I really enjoyed it. And of course we still did cardio in the mornings, like I would go do bleachers, or go for a run, or some kind of track workout where it's sprints, or stuff like that for my cardio, mainly on my cardio that I would do. So,
cool. So you were working out twice a day?
Yeah, twice a day.
Okay. 5 days a week?
5 days a week. We work out on Saturdays, about an hour and a half on Saturdays. So
okay.
Sundays for my season were the weigh-in days. Every week we had to send in a weigh-in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just want to give people, a little bit of, show them what it's like. Like this is something realistic that people can do, because it's not like you went off to, a boot camp like you would for The Biggest Loser for the entire year, and all your meals were fed to you, and 6 hours a day of training.
He's like, that would have been nice.
Yeah. Now, I just wanted to show people like it can be attained. Like it is possible for people to do with their normal schedules, right?
No doubt.
So you've had a remarkable story, because season 4 is come and gone. You lost over 200 pounds, and here we are. Fast forward, 2.5 years later. What have you done to keep the weight off? Because the statistics show that most people gain the weight back after Biggest Loser or extreme weight loss.
And not necessarily all of it. So let's
Yeah.
clarify, not necessarily all the way back, but most people gain at least a good portion of it back.
What's your opinions, Bruce, on what's helped you maintain that weight loss, and why do some people gain a lot of the weight back sometimes?
My opinion is, like, I think for what I've done is I've completely changed my lifestyle, of course. Then when people say it's a lifestyle change, that's the bottom line. And of course, you got to always remember keeping your integrity, keeping your promises. And then the other thing is knowing your why, like your external why and your internal why. Why are you doing this? You got to peel that onion back, and you got to know what is going to keep you going, what's going to wake you up at 5 a.m. that's going to help, that's going to get you to do that every single day. And that why has got to be so important to you that it strikes a core inside you that you're almost afraid to tell people your why, because you get so emotional about it, and it almost brings you to tears. And a lot of people, it does bring to tears. And and your why will change over time. And I think that's what helps me really get going is it's my why. I'm always thinking about, why am I doing this? Why do I want to stay fit? Why do I want to keep this going? Why, what is it that is so important to me that it helps me keep going? And then you change your whole career. I think you need to change. Because your environment before wasn't working. So you got to change it all the way around. When you say transformation, it's not just a few things you need to change. People on the show, if you look at it, people that have been successful and the people that haven't have changed their whole entire lifestyle and what they do. Ones that go back to what they do before is one of the hardest struggles, because it's so easy to fall back in your old patterns, and go back to just, this is what I know. This is easy. Nobody's watching me anymore. And I don't have to worry about a weekly weigh-in. I don't have to worry about being on national television, like all this stuff. So you're like, well, a little bit here won't hurt, a little bit here. I need a week off. 1 week turns into 2. Next thing you know, it's a month. The next thing you know, oh no, the scale has jumped back up. So, you got to it's got to stay the rest of your life. You can't ever take off a week. You can't ever, it's just, sometimes it sucks. I hate it sometimes.
Yeah.
So, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I think there's this weird misconception of people that, and now Bruce works in this industry now, so I think he probably hears this too. I think there's this weird misconception that people that are fit love to eat healthy all the time and love to exercise all the time. And it's so funny sometimes when I say something like, oh, I just want a donut, or oh, I don't want to work out. People are like, really? And it's like, yeah, we're human too. I like pizza. I like donuts. And sometimes I don't want to get my ass off the couch. I want to sit and I want to Netflix and chill, and people laugh and they're like, wow. But I think, like you said, the key is a lot of times what, we think of our why, why are we doing this? And why does it feel good to eat healthier? And so that's why, we do it more often than Not that I don't eat donuts. Everyone knows I do.
Yeah.
But that's why I don't eat them every day, you know? And so I think, like you said, having that why and making sure that why isn't just physical, because that's always going to fizzle. Just saying, oh, I want to look good, or I want to look good in a bikini, or I want to look good for my trip to Hawaii. Like that type of why is never going to sustain you through all the bumpy roads and through the years. So I love that tip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Your why has got to be, I mean, I think of my why now. I mean, if I want the best career for my family and not to have the life that I had when growing up, this is my best opportunity to supply for them. So that's my why. And my why is to be loved. I mean, I feel loved and appreciated being like this, you know, and it's the best feeling in the world. So why wouldn't I have it? I mean, not to speak for you guys, but like, you stay as fit as possible so you can do podcasts and you guys can keep inspiring so many people and doing the things you do, you know? I mean, if you gain the weight back, if I had gained this weight back, we wouldn't be on this podcast right now. You know, these kind of opportunities would never come my way. So like that means more to me than anything. And plus we were given a lottery. I mean, we're on the show. We won the lottery being on the show and because there are so many people that sit home and say, man, why, if that was me, I would kill it. You know, and I believe a lot of those people that sit in that chair, they would if they had that opportunity. So it would be a slap in the face to all those people out there if we gain this weight back and we don't keep going and we don't keep helping as many people as we can. You know, Chris and Heidi that's a disservice to them, you know, for their message not to be shared what they've taught us.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's powerful. And one thing I've noticed, because I have a lot of friends from extreme weight loss and on The Biggest Loser, the ones that stay accountable to their following, because no matter who you are, if you're on the show, you're going to get a following. People are going to want to know what you did, how you did it, you know, and you're their inspiration. And I've noticed the ones that are able to keep the weight off and maintain it are the ones that continually stay active on social media, for example, and are always posting things and updates and progress. And I don't care if it's food pictures or them weighing in or doing selfies. All that, you know, that doesn't matter to me. It just matters that they're staying accountable and they're continuing to inspire and paying it forward to people. And that's one thing I've noticed, you know, with you, Bruce, is you're always doing these awesome Bruceisms, photos, like, let's get pumped.
Yeah.
You know, I love it, dude.
Yeah.
And
It's like contagious.
It is
Bruce's
contagious.
energy is contagious. Every time I see one of his posts or one of his videos, I immediately am smiling.
You have to stop and watch it.
And you immediately smile and you feel pumped. You do.
Yes.
I'm like, I am pumped. I'm pumped now.
Man. So we appreciate your post, Bruce.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
So what are some of the daily routines that you have been able to maintain that help you keep the weight off, like throughout the years after this? Like, what are some of your daily routines? Like, I know you do your naked squat thing. What else?
Yeah.
Wait, no, I don't.
Sure.
Tell people what that is.
Tell people about the naked squat.
Okay, so I don't necessarily do squats anymore because one day I got up and I strained my groin because I wasn't warm. So it kind of put a damper on it. So it's more of like a motivational speech in front of the mirror, you know, flex, tell people there's nobody better looking than you, and just like how you're going to conquer the day, you know. So I get up because instead of dragging when your alarm goes off, I've really worked on just freaking jumping out of bed and running into the bathroom as fast as you can. And I just always used to say naked just cause, you know, for a metaphor, just to be like, hey, you know, show how great you are, you know, if it's naked, great. So, you know, you just to get fired up on the day, and then it's amazing how that just pumps you up, and then you try to get in 3 positive comments by 10 a.m. So that could be anything of like just saying hello to a random person, because you don't know what they're going through, and just smiling at them and just being like, hey, how's it going? You know, that's just positive affirmation all around you. And it helps you through your day of not being all depressed and sad and like worry about the stresses of the world, you know, and like, I mean, it's just, that's kind of what I do. And also the biggest thing for me is meal prepping. I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to be successful in weight loss and maintenance and everything, it starts with meal prepping, because the biggest predicaments that I get in and talking to other people is when they're like, what am I going to eat? You know, what am I going to do? So they end up like, you know what? I can go to this restaurant. I'm going to order something healthy. And it's like, you think you're ordering it healthy. Like, I remember I went to Cheesecake Factory and I ordered a Cobb salad. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. I put it in my
like 1,700 calories.
Yeah, I put it in my fitness pal, and it said it was 900 calories. I was like, what in the world? what just happened? So
Yeah.
so that happens. So like that's another thing that that's just some of my rituals that I do. So I meal prep every Sunday and get all my meals ready and everything like that. So that's kind of my little
man.
routine.
Cool.
So,
And I think that's important for people to realize there are daily routines of little things you can do that you make habits that help push you in the right direction. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can just be one small change. Like, wake up, do some naked squats, 3 or 5 of them. And then that's just one small change. Or run to the mirror and say 3 positive affirmations about yourself. Or, doing those things that are non-scale related.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that helps set your mind for the rest of the day and helps you know who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think a big thing is to remind people it doesn't necessarily always come at once. A lot of times for me, I talk to my clients about positive affirmations too, because I think positivity and saying kind things to yourself is such a huge step in your transformation. And maybe that's all they do for a week. And then they add in, fitting in a little exercise in the morning. And maybe they add in a week or two later, drinking enough water. And then maybe a couple of weeks later, they add in adding more vegetables. So it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You're creating these healthy habits and this daily routine over time by just doing like one thing at a time.
Yes, exactly. Because you try and fix everything at once, it's not going to happen. And you're going to be too overwhelmed. You're going to be frustrated, and you're going to quit. So
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's so true, man. Okay, so I know you get asked this a lot, probably. I know that you worked your butt off to lose the weight, and you still work your butt off to maintain it. So we know the workouts there. We know you eat healthy, you meal prep. That's important too. But I know people always want to know. Okay, so what did you take any supplements? And if you did any of them help? And if you can, talk a little bit about that, because in my opinion, supplements aren't the key, right? Supplements aren't what helped you lose the weight. It's not like you took a magic pill, you lost the 200 pounds. I do feel like they can be a small piece of the puzzle in some cases. So yeah, I just kind of want to get your opinion on any supplements you took during the show to help you lose the weight, and any that you take now, or what's your opinion on supplements in general?
I actually took no supplements the entire time. And I can speak for a lot of them. We don't take anything, it's simple eating, calories in, calories out, at the end of the day. And so, yeah, and what I believe in like supplements now is taking something to like creatine or something to help you get stronger, a little bit of stuff like that, natural stuff like that. I've kind of looked into. I love pre-workout now. I don't know why I never took pre-workout while I was on the show. That ticks me off.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't. It's just amazing how much I didn't know my entire year of fitness. And now being around it more, it's like I'm a 2-year-old that's just still learning all this stuff. It's like, holy cow, I didn't even know that through my whole year, because I'm still learning so much about fitness. It's unbelievable. So like my biggest thing now is pre-workout. I love it. So
that's cool,
awesome.
Man. Which one do you take?
I take this one from this. My buddy started a company, so I was taking this one called Surge. It was pretty good. And then I ordered this new one. I can't even remember what it's from, but I really like that one because it doesn't get me too. I drink a lot of. I'm always amped up as it is, so sometimes when I get too much, I'm like shaking, and people are like, "Dude, what is wrong?" And I'm like, "My pre-workout just kicked in, and it's like going." So.
Dude, that makes me laugh and think, did you guys see that Instagram post from Heidi where it's like when your pre-workout kicks in and it's like this car that literally drives up the side of a wall in order to fit in a parking spot, and the person like jumps through the trunk because they're like, I got this. And it's hilarious.
Funny. Yeah, you got to take some pre-workout to really understand that joke, but I remember that post. I was laughing.
That is funny, man. Yeah, I used to take pre-workout. I'm kind of like off and on. Like I really don't take it that much because I'm like you. I'm already pretty much amped up as it is. And so if I take it too much, then my heart's beating. I'm sweating for no reason. And I'm just like, I'm talking so fast. And people are like, I don't even understand you, man. But it can help out for a great CrossFit workout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A couple of lifts. But if it's like, you're busting out the Fatal 40, you don't want to take any pre-workout because all of a sudden your heart's going to be and you like look up at the clock and you got 30 more minutes left in this workout and you're like, oh my gosh, my heart is beating like a miles per hour.
Oh man, I hate that workout.
Sounds awesome. So let me ask you this. You still do CrossFit?
Yep. I still do CrossFit and, and trying to work on some goals my biggest goal is this next year in the Open to make sure that it's not anything they throw out in the Open that I can do, and I'll be able to get a pretty decent score. So that's going to be that's my goal this year. And I've been working really hard this right now, because now's the time to freaking work your butt off to get into that. And someday, and I want to make a regional team, and I feel like people are like, oh, it's so hard to do that. And I'm just like, well, you know what? It is going to be hard, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove people wrong, and I'm going to freaking do it. So
yeah, man. So with you being into CrossFit, and Chris and Heidi, obviously, would you say that's the majority of most people's routine on the show? Is everybody on the show doing CrossFit now, or is it a modified version of it?
Yeah, it's a modified. I don't think not everybody does it. There's a few of us that do. There's a few of us that don't. A lot of people like the Orange Theory philosophy, of like 60 minutes of just circuit training, just going through stuff, and some love to bike, some love to swim, some love to do Zumba, and so like whatever you love to do, I mean, that's what you got to do. If you don't love it, you're not going to do it, so like a majority of us, there was some of us the whole year that hated CrossFit, but I loved it being in the competitiveness. I love the goals that you can hit of like for yourself, the timed workouts. You want to try to beat your time, and if you don't focus on what everybody else is doing, just focus on what you're doing, and it's just fun, and it's a good environment to be around.
Yeah,
so.
And I love CrossFit too, and I'm pretty sure Lynn does not like CrossFit, right?
I don't love CrossFit.
Lynn does not like that whole competitive atmosphere.
I can be the lone person in this conversation that says not only do I not enjoy CrossFit, I don't enjoy everyone talking to me about CrossFit, which is what CrossFit people do.
They do.
They do. When people, like to talk about Fran
Time
and Cindy and Lynn and all the other, people are like, what are they talking about? Women? No, they're talking about workouts. Okay. It's way less exciting. And I mean, that's fine. But I mean, I'm all for people doing what inspires them. And I like what Bruce just said. There's people that enjoy biking and hiking and Zumba and yoga. And I think the key is it's not if you're doing CrossFit or not, you're going to lose weight. It's, are you doing something that you love that you're going to be able to maintain and sustain, because it is, a lifestyle change.
Exactly. My girlfriend hates CrossFit too. So
Lynn, I love your girlfriend. I love your girlfriend. Yeah.
Lynn likes her even more.
I already
now.
like her now. I mean, she was already so cute, and I already liked her from looking at her on Instagram, but now her and I are even better friends. So.
And I totally respect that, but you got to find what works for you. And if it feels like a chore, then obviously you're gonna get burnt out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, cool. We appreciate you kind of giving some people out there that are listening some tips along the way and some motivation as well. Definitely, this podcast has been full of motivation and inspiration, Bruce, which is what you are. You are an inspiration to so many people. But now, like to end the podcast, we have to have a lightning round.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Welcome to the lightning round. No, just kidding. But anyone that doesn't know what the lightning round is if this is the first time you're listening to our show, at the very end of the show, we like to ask the people that we have on random questions that really mean nothing and have no importance, and they have no idea what they're going to be. The key is you have to respond as quickly as you can with the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready, Bruce, for the lightning round? Okay. What is the most embarrassing thing that happened on your episode or during that year that maybe didn't make it on air?
Jeez, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm not doing very good right now.
All right. Since I know you love CrossFit, I decided to add this in here for you. If it was required to be a vegetarian in order to CrossFit, would you give up bacon?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, yes. Bruce, you've saved yourself.
Oh, that's funny.
I love that.
That was too easy.
Okay, your favorite cheat meal or dessert.
Ooh.
Or actually, it doesn't even have to be dessert. It could be any type of cheat meal.
Well, okay. I love to go get some cheese fries as an appetizer with bacon on top from Iggy's. And then I love to get a Chicago-style deep dish pizza for my dinner. And then for dessert, there's nothing better with going to frozen yogurt and putting all the toppings on it. So there's a good epic cheat. There's an epic reset.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I think it's important for people to know that you do have these reset days, right?
Oh, dang right. You gotta have.
Oh,
it.
yeah. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So
Drew will
the
do
next one isn't really a question, but I want you to do your best imitation of Chris Powell, one of Chris Powell isms of him training.
Yeah. Try to do the voice too.
Do the voice
okay. Okay. Oh man, hey, here's one where he always says step on the scale, and this comes up, and he goes, what happened? What happened? Man? Man.
Oh,
Gosh,
funny, dude.
sounds like a...
That sounds just like him.
Yeah.
Okay, dude. Now you gotta do the same thing, but for Heidi
But for
Powell.
Heidi. Okay, Heidiism. Imitation.
Yeah, okay, the best thing for Heidi. Bruce, I love this in the best way, but you just been eating too much, but it's okay, it's all right, you gotta work harder, but hey, it's okay. It's okay. She's the best way of breaking like bad news in a positive way. And she gives it to you the hard way.
I love that it's like, you're screwing up, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We can fix this. I mean, you could stop screwing up, but it's okay.
Oh, that is too funny.
Okay? No, I'm just kidding. I love it. Man. Okay, but seriously, you sounded like Chris when you did his ism.
You did.
That made
What?
me laugh, man.
Chris is gonna love it when he hears that. That's
Okay,
hilarious.
if you have a response, if you don't have an embarrassing moment on the show, then I need your most embarrassing moment in general.
Okay, my most embarrassing moment on the show probably was I came out with some spiked up hair thinking that was the way to go, and Matt sent me back and made me because I thought I was looking fly walking through the day. It was actually going to be our 45-day weigh-in. And I remember I came in, I'm like, look at me, yeah, I'm looking good. And I remember Matt was like, ooh, that hair. And I think that's one of the reasons it didn't make the cut. So that was kind of embarrassing because I thought I was looking fly, and little did I know that was not happening at all. So
That is so funny. That is hilarious, man.
That's funny.
Okay, really quick, just to wrap it up. What's your? We got to talk about it because CrossFit. Yep. Fran Time. What's your best Fran Time?
I think my best one that I ever did was 5:29. And
Dude,
I did it
that
with
is
Richard.
That is good. And was that RX?
No, not quite RX. That's the only
Okay.
problem. I was just a little bit off, so I need to get my RX time.
Pull-ups.
Yeah, it was
Man. Good job,
the pull-ups were a little bit difficult for me, but I was able to do them kipping, so I was good.
Dude, that's good, man. No, that's really good, dude. That's legit. I think that was my first time. The first time I did Fran was around 5 minutes, to be honest with you. And I haven't done it in a long time. I don't even want to know what it is now, but it's probably past 6 minutes.
For those of you that don't know what Fran is, join the club. Okay, it's a
Lynn doesn't know.
workout. It's a
Lynn-
workout. I
Lynn
know it
thinks we're
has
talking about a
pull-ups in
girl.
there. I know it has pull-ups in there.
Yes.
And I know that it's hard, and that's what I know.
It's hard and it's fast.
Very fast, and it's tiring.
And it's very tiring. It's 21-15-9 of thrusters, which is basically a front squat to a push press all in one movement, right? So you squat down, and then as you come back up, you push the bar over your head. It's 95 pounds for men, 65 for women. I can't remember what the weight is for women, but it's 95 pounds. So you do 21 of those, 21 pull-ups, 15 thrusters, 15 pull-ups, 9 thrusters, 9 pull-ups. Sounds easy, but man, it
Doesn't sound easy, does it?
very difficult.
Yeah, thrusters
Especially,
is the worst
it's like a
movement.
sprint. Yes, I totally agree.
Well, you survived the lightning round, Bruce, with flying colors.
Yes.
Good job. Good job. And for people that want to know where to find you or what you're up to, why don't you tell everybody? Where can they find you on social media, or what are you up to these days?
I just at Bruce Pitcher on Instagram, and then Bruce Pitcher Extreme Weight Loss on Facebook, and then what I'm doing now is just doing boot camps. Doing one here in Utah. We're thinking of starting another one up in either Colorado or Utah. So if you're out in that area, you can message me on Facebook and we can get you set up. And then I do Destination Boot Camp, which it's from the show. People come in and from all over the world. We've had people from Switzerland, Italy, all over come in and do a year-long journey as well and lose your weight and work on the mindset of peace. And I'm coaching football as a hobby for fun and just loving life.
That's awesome. You guys, we'll put all that information in the show notes so that you guys can find Bruce on social media, and that way as well, the next time he does a new boot camp, you can find out the details.
Yeah, and if people want to hire you to be a motivational speaker, what's the best way to get a hold of you, Bruce, for that?
They can just either email me or message me on Facebook or on Instagram. Those messages, that's the best way to do it. So
Okay, yep.
Great.
We'll put that in the show notes because I know that you are a great motivational speaker.
Yes, I love doing that.
Yeah, I'd love to see you get on stage a lot more. So I definitely recommend hiring Bruce for that. Once again, Bruce, thank you so much for coming on, dude. We will definitely have to have you on again in the future because there's a lot more things that we weren't able to get to in this episode that we'd love to talk to you about. So thank you so much for being a part of the Fit to Fat to Fit Experience podcast.
We love you, Bruce.
Love you guys. Thank you so much. Keep up all the good work you guys are doing. I appreciate everything.
Okay, man.
Awesome.
See you guys.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode with Bruce Pitcher. We really, really hope you enjoyed it, and we really do hope that you will share it with your friends and family, someone that can benefit from listening to Bruce's story. If you like today's episode, please leave us a review on iTunes and leave a comment there as well. And please subscribe to the show, and that way you're always updated when new episodes come out.
Yeah, and if you guys want to find us and follow us on our social media outlets, you can find me at 2Fit at Home, and I'm on almost every social media network there. And also my site is the number 2fitathome.com. You can subscribe to my newsletter.
Yep, and mine is fittofattofit.com, and all my social media handles are at fittofattofit. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you back here next week.
See you guys.